Gongsa Agnes Bojaxa was born on August 26, 1910 in Skopje, the current capital of the Republic of Macedonia. She later became known as Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa grew up in the Catholic faith, and on August 27, 1910, she was reborn. Her parents were Nicola and Dranafil Bojaxa. Both were of Albanian descent. Her father was an entrepreneur who worked as a construction contractor and trader of medicines and other goods. Her mother was deeply involved in the local church as well as a vocal proponent of Albanian independence. In 1919, when Mother Teresa was only 8 years old, her father passed away. Many speculated that political enemies poisoned him, but the actual cause of death is unknown. After her father's death, Mother Teresa became extremely close to her mother, Dranafil, who had a firm hand in her later devotion to charity. As a child, Mother Teresa attended a convent-run primary school and a state-run secondary school. She sang in the local Sacred Heart Choir. At the age of 12, Mother Teresa went on a pilgrimage to the chapel of the Madonna of Letnes atop the Black Mountain in Skopje. It was there that she first felt a religious calling to her life. 6 years later, in 1928, Mother Teresa turned 18 and decided to become a nun. She traveled to Ireland and joined the Loreto Sisters of Dublin. It was there that she took the name Sister Mary Teresa, after Saint Teresa of Lisieux. A year later, Mother Teresa left Ireland to travel to Darjeeling, India. In May 1931, she made her first profession of vows. Afterwards, she was sent to Calcutta to teach at St. Mary's High School for Girls. The school was run by the Loreto Sisters and dedicated to teaching girls from the city's poorest Bengali families. Mother Teresa learned to speak Bengali and Hindu fluently and taught geography and history. On May 24th, 1937, Mother Teresa took her final profession of vows to a life of poverty, chastity, and obedience. It was then she took on the title of Mother, a custom for Loreto nuns. Mother Teresa continued to teach at St. Mary's, and in 1944 she became the school principal. She was committed to her students' education and leading them to a life centered in Christ. There is always the danger that we may just do the work for the sake of the work. This is where the respect and the love and the devotion come in. That they do it to God, to Christ, and that's why we try to do it as beautifully as possible. On September 10, 1946, Mother Teresa was riding a train from Calcutta to the Himalayan foothills for a retreat. It was there she experienced a second calling, which would change her life forever. Christ spoke to her and told her to abandon teaching and to work in the slums of Calcutta, aiding the poor and the sick. Since Mother Teresa had committed to a vow of obedience, she had to seek permission to leave. After a year of lobbying, she finally received approval in January of 1948 from the local Archbishop Ferdinand Perrier. She went through 6 months of medical training and left to care for the poor and the broken. When Mother Teresa arrived in Calcutta, she began an open-air school and established a home for the destitute in a building that the government donated to her cause. In October 1950, she won recognition for her new congregation, the Missionaries of Charity, which founded only 12 members. Over the course of the 1950s and the 1960s, Mother Teresa established a leper colony, an orphanage, a nursing home, a family clinic, and a mobile health clinic. Mother Teresa's influence impacted the world and donations started to flow in. We think sometimes that poverty is only being hungry, naked, or homeless. The poverty of being unwanted, unloved, and uncared for is the greatest of poverty. In 1971, Mother Teresa left Calcutta and traveled to New York City to open her first American-based house of charity. Then, in 1982, she secretly went to Beirut, Lebanon, where she crossed between Christian East Beirut and Muslim West Beirut to help children of both faiths. In 1985, she returned to New York City and gave a speech at the 40th anniversary of the United Nations General Assembly. While she was there, she opened Gift of Love, a home to care for people infected with HIV or AIDS. Pope Paul V bestowed the Decree of Praise upon the Missionaries of Charity in February 1965. This inspired Mother Teresa to expand her charity internationally. Mother Teresa received many more awards throughout her lifetime. She was awarded the Jewel of India, the highest honor bestowed on the Indian civilians, as well as the now-defunct Soviet Union's Gold Medal of the Soviet Peace Committee. On June 20, 1985, she was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom by Ronald Reagan. I am most unworthy of this generous gift of our President, Mr. Reagan, and his wife, and you people of the United States, but I accept it for the greater glory of God and in the name of the millions of poor people, that this gift, and in spirit and in love, will penetrate the heart of the people. For in giving it to me, you are giving it to them, to my hands, with your great love and concern. Her most honorable award was the Nobel Peace Prize, which she received in recognition of her work in bringing help to suffering humanity. Although many people were inspired by her works, others criticized her. She openly vocalized her opposition on contraceptives and abortion. In her Nobel Peace Prize lecture in 1979, she said, "The greatest destroyer of love and peace is abortion, which is war against the child. The mother doesn't learn to love, but kills to solve her own problems. Any country that accepts abortion is not teaching its people to love, but to use any violence to get what they want." On September 5, 1997, at the age of 87, Mother Teresa passed away. By the time of her death in 1997, the Missionaries of Charities numbered over 4,000, in addition to thousands more lay volunteers, with 610 foundations in 123 countries on all 7 continents. Mother Teresa's lasting leadership and legacy has inspired many to have a heart for the poor and the broken. The Missionaries of Charities was born by Mother Teresa and is still alive around the world today. Because of Mother Teresa's lasting impact, many have been encouraged to help those in need. Let us touch the dying, the poor, the lonely, and the unwanted, according to the graces we have received, and let us not be ashamed or slow to do the humble work.